In the last video, I introduced some major themes within Ontario's budget. Those were revenue, money that comes into the government; expenses, where government spends its money; and deficit, the difference between revenue and expenses if there is more money being spent than coming in; debt, money borrowed that must be paid back. In this segment, we're going to focus specifically on government revenues. In the fall, we estimated that Ontario's revenues will total $108 billion. There are 4 categories of revenues for the government. By far, most of our revenues come from taxes. Taxes make up almost 70% of government revenues. You're likely familiar with the sales tax you pay when you buy something at the store. Citizens also pay taxes on the money that they make. Companies pay taxes on the money that they make conducting their business. The next biggest source is transfer payments from the federal government. They make up 20% of government revenues. Transfer payments are sums of money that are paid from the federal government to provinces and territories to help cover the cost of provincial expenses such as health care. Then comes what we call non-tax revenue. This is money from things like fines or paying to renew your driver's license. Only 7% of our revenue comes from non-tax revenue. Our smallest form of revenue is income from government enterprises. Government enterprises are basically businesses that the government operates. 2 major government enterprises are the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, or LCBO, where people purchase alcohol, and the OLG, which operates lotteries like 649 and gambling at casinos. These government enterprises contribute about 4% of our revenues. Now, since taxes make up about 70% of government revenues, it's worth taking a closer look at what kinds of taxes the government collects. Here are the 3 largest generating taxes for Ontario. 23% of all government revenue is personal income tax. That's the tax that people pay to government on the amount of money they earn each year. About 19% of all government revenue comes from sales taxes. Sales tax revenues, most notably from the harmonized sales tax, come from purchases that citizens make. The next largest amount of revenue comes from corporate tax. Corporate taxes, the taxes paid by corporations on their profits, are 8% of government revenue. Well, that was a quick summary of our government's revenue sources. As you can see, government raises revenue from a number of different sources, with the vast majority coming from taxes. This revenue helps us deliver important programs and services that you and your families rely on. Before you answer the questions below, feel free to watch the video again to go over what we learned. I look forward to your feedback on our revenues.